Hey everyone, this is going to be a bit of a different cloud slaw this week. This week we're going to do a little bit of a skills challenge. Now, unlike some of our other skills challenges, this one's not designed to test new or existing skills. It's designed to actually help you kind of learn and work your way through a particular problem. So here's the setup for what we're going to do, and then I'm going to jump right in and show you how to go ahead and go through the process. What we've done recently is learned how to set up Athena to query our CloudTrail logs. And one of the things I'd want you to do is kind of explore and learn how to write your own queries. So I've provided a starting point. It's a blog post I actually published, I think over a year ago at this point. Well, a year ago as of this recording, who knows when you're actually watching this. A blog post with a variety of starter queries, and I've referenced that before. Here's the process for what you're going to do today. And then I'm going to show you the process, show you the first pieces of it. I'm going to show you how to clean up. It's all going to only take a few minutes, but it'll let you work on this in your own time and explore how to write these queries and how to write them in a security context. What we're going to do is I have a CloudFormation set up. You're going to run this in one of your accounts. It's going to be your test account one. This is going to build some things, and it actually is going to send information to me, including, well, credentials, and we'll get into that in a moment. And then I'm going to run an automated attack simulation against your account. Now, everything is really tightly constrained. I ran this past Chris Ferris, my partner in crime at various points in time, to make sure that it's not going to put you guys at risk. And we're both very comfortable with how this is set up. And go ahead and message me if you want any other details. You're going to run that CloudFormation. You're going to let it run for a few minutes. That's going to end up simulating an attack. And then it shuts everything down. So it's not anything ongoing. It's not anything continuous. Then I'm going to have you go to the blog post where I actually have written out sample queries. You're going to use those queries and you're going to investigate what's going on in your account. Then when you're all done, you're going to delete the CloudFormation stack. And it's going to pull everything out of your account and you're going to be nice set up in a nice clean environment again. Okay, so let's go through and let me actually show you how this is going to work. To start, go into your sign-in console, go to test account one and administrator access. Once you are here in your administrator access, we'll go to CloudFormation. Now, in your case, you're going to copy and paste out of the blog post. In my case, I have it on a template here. So I'm going to copy this. And that's going to be the stack that I'm going to use. You'll notice we don't have any running here. You actually do have stack sets in your account, but we don't have any here. Oh, and very important, this is only going to work in US West Oregon. So make sure you're in the Oregon region and then create stack. Now it's going to be like we've always done, paste in that S3 URL, and it's lab61.template, and click next. Give it a name, and let's go with simulation. Spell things correctly, simulation. Don't worry about these parameters. Those were just there for my testing, and click next. Ignore all of this, and acknowledge that it's going to create IAM resources, click next, and then click submit. Now, in the background, this is creating a VPC because you don't have any in your account with a subnet. That's a private subnet only. Then it's launching an instance into that subnet. It immediately stops that instance, so you're not going to have any billing. Then it also creates an IAM user with an access key and a secret key. Now, remember I said never allow this. Well, now we're going to learn why, because we're actually going to simulate what an attack would look like. That access key and secret key are sent to me over Event Bridge. Those feed into a Lambda function. Now, just so you know, I'm not storing those anywhere. They are not logged. They are not stored in S3. They're not stored anywhere. So that access key and that secret key are sent to that Lambda function. And then that Lambda function uses those to create a snapshot and make the snapshot public. I'm just telling you everything that's going to occur here. This isn't one of those simulations where you have to figure out the attack. I want you to know the attack pattern because it's going to help you as you go through and as you write your queries. That Lambda function simulates that attack, shuts itself down, everything's gone. I'm not keeping anything in memory, no environment variables, nothing. The end result is you should see two things. One is if you set up Access Analyzer correctly in our previous labs, you'll actually get an email alert coming out of Security Hub from Access Analyzer that something is now public. And it would be kind of fun to wait, and because that's actually going to give you information that will help you through the next part of the investigation. Otherwise, you can just go through, and I'm going to show you the starting point, and you can pull the information you need from there to start running the queries. Once all of this is done, and mine's still running, it's not finished yet in the background, so I will probably pause here in a moment. Once all of that's done, I want you to go into Athena and in your security audit account, and you're going to start running some queries. And those queries are going to just teach you how to work with Athena more. And these are the base queries that I use in all of my incident investigations. Now, in my case, going back to my screen, my creation is complete. Everything is up and running. It still takes another minute because in the background, my simulated attack is now occurring. So you've sent signals into my account using EventBridge that's going to go ahead and trigger that simulated attack. If you go into the blog post, you'll have a link, the S.L.A.W blog post, you're going to see a link for my process for analyzing these kinds of events. And you're not going to need to go through all of these. I'm going to show you one of them, and I'm going to show you just enough to get you started. So to start with, we need our starting point, and there's two places to get that. The first is going back in. So CloudFormation is all up and running. That's all good. I'm going to open go into EC2. And within EC2, I'm going to go to Snapshots. And within Snapshots, you'll see there's now one called Delete Me. And let me just double check. Yep, this one is from today, and the timestamp matches up. So that's occurred. This is the ID that'll be your starting point. And if I click on this snapshot, you'll see that the snapshot, if everything worked, is public. So we created a public snapshot. This is an example of how an attacker might exfiltrate data if they got access to your account. The thing you're going to need is the snapshot ID. I'm going to copy that snapshot ID, and then I'm going to go to my cheat sheet over here, and I'm going to paste that snapshot ID in there. Now, I'm also going to go ahead and pause the video and see if I got my Access Analyzer alert yet. That can take a little bit longer, and if I don't have it, that's no big deal. I'll show it at the end of the video. Well, I probably didn't need to pause, other than the fact I don't want you to read all of my emails because this was already there. I got that notification pretty much instantly. And you can see here, it's a pain to read with the JSON. We've talked about that before, but you can see that I also have that snapshot ID right then and there. So this is really cool because now you can see all of our interlocking security controls coming, working together. And I got that alert pretty much immediately after I made this public, thanks to having Access Analyzer and Security Hub set up for those alerts. Great. So I have all the information I need. Now, am I going to go and query the logs here in this account? No, I am not. I'm going to go to my security audit account. I'm going to close this. We'll go back to our portal. And remember, we're going to do all of our investigations from our security audit account. And I'm going to log in. And remember, log in with security full admin because of how we set up our permissions around Athena. Once I'm in here, I am going to go to Athena. Let's see if there's anything left over in our window from last week. Look at that. All of our queries have been kept in memory. I don't need any of these, so I'm going to close these out. And we're going to have just that query one. Now I'm going to go to the blog post at the secureassist.com website, and I'm going to copy out this very first query. So copy that query and put this onto my sheet here. And the first thing I need to do is get my table name because I don't have that stored here. And going back into, going back into this window here, I have my older query, and so I've got my table name right there. So let me copy that table name. And it should be the same for everyone because we all did this the same way, right? Everybody follow my rules. So we're going to pull that trail, and you'll notice this is set up for snapshot IDs. It's almost like I've been using this example for a long time, and I want to replace my snapshot ID in there. So I go to, whoops, it was on the same page. I don't know why I did that. Copy that snapshot ID. And remember what this query says. Actually, let me paste this in, and then I'll go over what the query actually is saying. So hold on, paste. There we go. So we're going to get the user, the event name, the source IP address, some basic information from our CloudTrail logs where the request included the snapshot ID or the response elements included the snapshot ID. Double checking all my quotes, and then we're going to order those by the event time. Copy that query out, go into Athena, paste that query in, and fingers crossed because I'm doing this all live. Run. Now, if you remember, this will probably take about 45 seconds or so based on our query times from the last time. I will pause the video as we do that. Look at that. It took exactly 45 seconds. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. And as I scroll down here, you can see all of the events. So this is pretty cool because you can actually see from the beginning, creating a snapshot all the way to all of these describe calls, modifying an attribute. And that's the core of what I want you to do. There's a bunch of queries here on this list. What I'd like you to do is play with the queries. This is your objective would be to find out and see if you can piece together the story of what my little attack script did. You're starting with that snapshot ID because that's where you got your alert. From that alert, you want to piece together, well, what actually happened? Well, we have all of our events. That's what we did with Athena. But there's other areas you should take a look at, such as understanding who or what made the API call, what permissions. You can ignore the permissions bit. That's more of a command line thing. And for the permissions, you can go into that account and look up the permissions. Your objective here isn't to do everything you would do in an incident response. I want you just to focus on the Athena queries. I want you to play with the queries themselves, play with the responses, trace the IP addresses. Just spend about 15 or 20 minutes working on this. Then when you're all done, you want to go ahead and clean all of that up. So let's say I just finished all of my queries and I'm done here. Then I'm going to go into my, I'm going to close that window because everything was in test account 1. I'm just going to go back into a test account 1 and I'm going to do two things. The first is I'm going to go into EC2. I'm going to go into snapshots and I'm going to delete this snapshot. There's no reason to keep it around. Now, it's not really a security risk. There's nothing in there but a base operating system, but there's no reason to leave it hanging in your account. It's just good hygiene. Then I'm going to go to CloudFormation, click on my stack, stack, delete. And that's it. Once that stack's done, everything is cleaned out of your account. At no point in time were those access keys and secret keys exposed to the internet, or were they ever saved on my side. I'm happy to share the Lambda function I used to go ahead through this. We're actually going to probably be building out more of this over time as I go through the process of true incident investigation. But your objective today is to go through, run those queries, and get some responses and see what you could piece together in terms of a story. Follow that blog post as a guideline, go as far as you want. In our next lab, I'm going to go through and I'll actually go through in detail how I run all of those queries, piece together the full story of what actually occurred, and so that you actually have that little bit of a roadmap in place. Hope you enjoy this one. A little bit different. I kind of like these when I'm able to throw those out there. I was super excited that I was able to do this simulation the way I did, where anybody out there can go ahead and set themselves up to be attacked from my account. By the way, there's a lot of constraints that I have built in, and I've checked. I don't think there's any way anybody could abuse this. There's all sorts of name checking and ID checking and other things. so that to provide those protections. So it's not like you could use this to go attack random accounts out there. It would do absolutely nothing for you because of all the constraints that I've got built in. With that said, have fun, and we'll see you at the next lab as I kind of walk through and give you all the answers.